But again, I'm going to knock this guy out and probably create one of the most viral knockouts in the history of boxing.
Jake Paul didn't hold back. He promised a brutal ending that could shake the boxing world. His warning to Gervonta Davis left everyone shocked and tense. But not everyone believed the hype. Pauli Malignaggi fired back, saying, "This fight is a circus. Just a distraction, not real boxing." His words hit hard, making the fight look less like a serious event and more like a show meant to entertain and distract fans. He didn't just criticize the fight, he questioned why it was even happening. Things got worse when the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission stepped in, saying the promotion went too far and pulling the plug on the fight. Now the event has been moved to Miami, Florida. And if the weight drama wasn't enough, Jake Paul added more fuel to the fire. During the face-off, he bent down in Gervonta's face, mocking his height and showing pure disrespect. The crowd went wild as Jake's stunt shocked the whole stage. The weight difference was already obvious, but Jake made it even clearer by bending over to mock Tank. This wasn't just a mind game, it was a direct hit to Gervonta's pride. For a fighter known for toughness and dominance, it felt personal. The tension was so heavy, it seemed like a fight could break out any second. Every smirk and stare only added more fuel to the fire. What started as hype now looked like war, and Jake had just lit the fuse. Even Pauli Malignaggi thought the press conference was strange. He didn't see hype, he saw something awkward and out of place.
The press conference was a little weird yesterday.
It was all weird.
It was awkward.
Yeah.
Why they gotta make it so weird, Jimmy?
Why they make it weird, bro? Why are they making it weird all the time? It was strange all the way around.
Yeah.
Who's this appealing to? Who do you think the target market is? Just
I mean,
freak show.
We're older, so I can't speak on the new generation. Where maybe the Jake Paul stuff does interest them, so obviously it's going to appeal to them. I don't know in what way this appeals as far as that press conference, but hey.
Paul's opinion cut through all the noise, pointing out the awkward vibe everyone was ignoring. To him, the event didn't feel like a real fight build-up, it felt forced, more like a show than boxing. Instead of exciting fans, it raised a big question: who was this really for? True boxing fans, or a younger crowd just chasing shock value? His words carried weight, making the whole event feel unbalanced. Suddenly, the press conference looked less like a stage for champions and more like a circus. Even Robert Garcia spoke up. He criticized Tank's choice harshly, saying the matchup itself was a mistake that disrespected real boxing.
It's actually embarrassing just to see what Tank chose to do instead of doing what a real fighter should have done. Everybody seen what happened. Everybody seen that Roach deserved to be champion. He should have given him that rematch. That fight is the one that should be happening. There's no way, for me, it's embarrassing just to see that. But I go back to the same thing. It's business. He's making a lot of money. I have a lot of fighters. I have people involved in boxing that I'm one phone call away. But personally, I'm not okay with that fight. I think Tank should be fighting Roach and giving us that fight because that's what we all want to see.
Garcia's words hit hard, questioning the fight's credibility. He didn't see greatness in Tank's choice, he saw a champion avoiding the fight fans really wanted. By mentioning Roach, he brought back the debate about who truly earned the spotlight. For Garcia, it wasn't about money, it was about respecting boxing. To him, this matchup looked more like business than a real fight. His blunt honesty convinced many fans that this was just a payday dressed up as a super fight. Michael Bisping also didn't hold back. He accused Jake Paul of chasing fights that only look big but feel staged, calling this matchup another carefully manufactured setup.
Because I always said he's looking for fights that were manufactured, looking for fights that were predetermined. And by that, I don't mean fake fights. I don't mean fixed fights. I mean fights where the odds are so stacked in his favor that of course he's going to win. And of course, we see this. The latest match that's going to go down November 14th at the State Farm Arena.
Bisping's criticism went straight to the heart of Jake Paul's career. He didn't see the fight as a brave challenge, he saw it as another safe move with all the real risk removed. In his view, Jake wasn't chasing legacy, he was stacking the odds in his favor. Fans who expected a real war were left wondering if the fight was ever meant to be fair. The build-up started to feel less like a sport and more like theater, and Bisping made sure nobody forgot it. Then he attacked the weight difference, calling it pure madness. To him, the size gap between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis wasn't a challenge, it was bullying.
Gervonta Tank Davis, a man that is a lightweight in boxing. Now, lightweight in MMA is 155 pounds. Lightweight in boxing, 135 pounds. Jake Paul, I think when he weighed in for Mike Tyson, was 227 pounds.
Official weight, 227.2 pounds.
That is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92 pound weight difference. Almost a 100 pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65 pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous. How can you be out there claiming to want to fight the best people on the planet and then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you? That is called one thing. That's called being a bully.
The numbers told the truth, and Bisping made sure everyone heard them. At their heaviest, the fighters were 90 pounds apart. Even on fight night, the gap was 65 pounds. It wasn't two equals in the ring, it was a mismatch from the start. For someone claiming to chase greatness, Jake's choice looked like the opposite. Instead of respect, he was getting backlash. To Bisping, this wasn't the mark of a champion, it was the move of a bully. He cut even deeper, saying, respect isn't earned by picking on smaller men. If Jake wants to be taken seriously, he needs to fight someone who truly scares him.
What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously and give you credit as a boxer, you have to take on challenges that are real. You have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you were to go up to this guy in a bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word: whoa, 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 stop being such a bully, leave him alone, you are way bigger than this guy. And that's clearly what we have here. It is ridiculous.
Bisping challenged Jake to face real danger instead of hiding behind size advantages. In his words, a true test is an opponent who keeps you awake at night, not someone fans laugh at you for picking. The comparison was harsh, like a bar fight where everyone tells the bigger guy to back off. His words made Jake look less like a warrior and more like a predator chasing easy prey. The excitement of the fight started to feel bitter when seen that way, and Bisping's blunt honesty landed like a knockout punch. He broke down the tale of the tape, age, size, and skill all laid out. But instead of seeing hype, Bisping saw nothing more than an embarrassing mismatch.
The tale of the tape. Gervonta Tank Davis, granted, a very, very skilled boxer, a world champion. He's had some great wins. He's had a tremendous career. He's got 28 knockouts on his record. I'm just looking at the tail of the tape here. 30 years old, Jake Paul, 28. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" tall, whereas Jake Paul is 6'1". I would never dream on picking on a guy that is 5'5" tall. Granted, there's some tough guys out there that are 5'5", okay? They're smaller guys, you know, but for 5'5", they'll pack a good punch. Typically, they're mixed martial artists or boxers, yeah. But when you're a boxer that's 6'1", that's only had one loss on the record, of course, Tommy Fury, doesn't want to face him again. Picking on a guy that small would be laughable. It would be embarrassing.
Bisping pointed out the raw numbers. Tank at 5 feet 5 inches, Jake standing tall at 6 feet 1 inch with only one loss on his record. On paper, the gap looked ridiculous, and Bisping didn't hold back in saying so. To him, it wasn't just unfair, it was embarrassing for the sport. A champion like Tank deserved more than being the undersized target in someone else's show. The image of Jake leaning down over him only made the mismatch more obvious. For Bisping, it turned the whole thing into a humiliation. Meanwhile, Jake Paul admitted it himself, this was the toughest test of his career. But instead of backing away, he promised to bring the best version of himself into the ring.
Yeah, no, I'm locked in. I know this is my toughest fight. He's undefeated, highly skilled, most experienced fighter I've fought, top 5 pound for pound. So I have to have the best version of myself. I know how fast he is. I know how strong he is. I believe I'm stronger, more athletic, and that's my advantage going into the fight. But he pretty much has every other advantage. So I'm locked in, fully focused, feeling amazing already, and just going to put on a performance and have the biggest fight of 2025.
Jake's words carried both respect and fire. He admitted Tank's speed, skill, and experience would be unlike anything he had faced before. Still, he leaned on his size, strength, and athletic edge as the keys to victory. This wasn't empty talk, he sounded focused, determined to prove he belonged at the very top. For Jake, this wasn't just another fight, it was the fight of 2025. Every line felt like a warning that he was ready to shock the world. And he didn't stop there. Jake doubled down, saying he would survive Tank and silence every critic in brutal fashion. To him, all the talk of rigged fights and excuses only gave him more fuel for his mission.
Oh, absolutely. Tank's going to be the one surviving. I'm going to, upset a lot of people. And again, they're going to have to say that there's some crazy excuse, fights are rigged. They can't use the steroid excuse because we have full-on random drug testing at any time. They could literally knock on my door right now. So they can't use that excuse. And obviously I'm suing people who say that the fights are rigged. Piers Morgan already had to retract his statement and kiss the ring. More lawsuits are coming for these people who are lying on my name because it's just simply not true. And we're willing to prove that in court. But I'm actually flattered that the only thing that people can chalk up these wins to is that the fights are rigged, because it's honestly the greatest compliment.
Jake dismissed every doubt, turning constant criticism into fuel. The lawsuits, drug testing, and accusations, he called them proof that people refused to believe his wins were real. Instead of avoiding it, he embraced it, saying it was the ultimate compliment. His message was clear: when he beats Tank, there will be no excuses left. For Jake, it wasn't just about winning, it was about rewriting the story around his name. The way he spoke, it felt like he was ready to force the world to believe. Even McCall Fox, who sparred with Gervonta, shook his head at the matchup. To him, this fight showed just how crazy boxing has become.
Thing happened. We got Jake Paul and Tank about to do a rematch. Do an exhibition or whatever. Boxing's just in a crazy place right now, where a world-ranked cruiserweight says he wants to fight tougher fights is about to fight a lightweight. You know what I mean? So, whatever.
Fox painted a picture of boxing slipping into chaos, where weight classes and common sense no longer mattered. He highlighted the absurdity of a world-ranked cruiserweight dropping down to face a lightweight. To him, this wasn't about skill, it was pure spectacle. He made it clear this wasn't progress for boxing, it was a sideshow. And his words carried weight, especially since he had felt Tank's power up close. That made his criticism hit even harder. Fox then turned his focus on Jake Paul, saying Jake was more of a star than a real fighter. The money, the attention, the headlines, that's what was truly driving this matchup.
There's money involved. Jake Paul is a social media star. In other words, in essence, he's an attention whore. It's just what it is. It's not that he's a professional attention whore. Great promoter though. I give him his credit, what he's doing for the ladies and stuff. Amanda Serrano is long overdue the attention she's been getting as of late. And shout out to all the ladies that's getting a chance to perform.
Fox broke it down clearly. Jake was a master at grabbing attention, and that's what really sold the fight. He even gave Jake credit for promoting the sport, especially for putting women's boxing in the spotlight. But when it came to fighting, Fox's praise ended. The difference between promoter Jake and fighter Jake was obvious in his tone. To him, this wasn't about legacy, it was about numbers. And that left fans questioning Jake's true intentions. Fox respected Jake Paul's hustle, but as a fighter, he wasn't convinced. He saw a man with money and power who still refused to take on real danger.
So promoter Jake Paul has my respect. Fighter Jake Paul, not as much, just because. I mean, bro, you say one thing when you do, but you do another. You can make these fights. You the money. Any of those guys in the cruiserweights in the top 15 would fight you just because they know they'll get some money. You know what I mean? But this is stuff you want to do. Hey, look, you grown.
Fox explained that Jake had the power to fight anyone in the cruiserweight top 15, fighters who would jump at the chance for a payday. But instead of taking the challenge, Jake chose an easier path that earned less respect. Fox didn't sugarcoat it. He called out the gap between Jake's words and actions. His message was clear: if Jake wanted real credibility, the chances were already there. Until he stepped up, the hype would never match reality. Then Fox spoke about Tank, the man he sparred with. He reminded everyone that deep down, Davis was still the same fighter built by the tough streets of Baltimore.
I mean, yeah. Tank. No matter, Tank is what, 31 years old. Deep down, he's still that kid that came up real rough in Baltimore. If he feels like somebody's trying to hurt him or take something from him, he gonna do what he got to do. He gonna do what he got to do. He gonna do what he know how to do. And I mean, Jake's a big boy. He probably not gonna have no problem. Tank's probably not gonna have a problem trying to hit him as hard as he can, because he probably thinks, I gotta hit this bama because he's too big. Yeah. He's too big. I can't let him just press me out like that. But I mean, like I said, I don't know. It's a circus. It's a circus over there.
Fox described Tank as raw, fearless, and always ready to swing back with everything once pushed. Against a bigger man like Jake, he believed Tank would only fight harder, determined to prove he couldn't be bullied. According to Fox, Tank's survival instincts would kick in the moment he felt threatened, and that meant every exchange carried real danger for Jake. He didn't deny the size gap, but he dismissed it as a shield. To him, this fight wasn't about size, it was about heart. And Tank had plenty of it. Even Teofimo Lopez added his view, saying this fight wasn't about legacy or records. For him, it was pure spectacle, built for entertainment.
Great fight, great matchup. It's fun for the sport of boxing. It makes it fun, it makes it entertaining. That's what it is all about. And may the best man win. It's an exhibition regardless, it doesn't count.
Lopez admitted that both fighters could give fans a thrilling show in the ring. But he mocked Davis for agreeing to the fight, calling it more of an exhibition than a real matchup. In his view, Tank should have thought twice before stepping into it. Lopez went further, saying Davis no longer looked like the people's champion. To him, this decision showed Tank shifting toward money, like many fighters do later in their careers. Then came Rolly Romero, caught between shock and disbelief. He respected Tank's skill, but he couldn't ignore Jake's massive size advantage.
I don't even know what to think now. I don't even know what to think. Maybe Tank has an unreal boxing ability and Jake Paul is really big. But the last time I said somebody was going to be bigger, they weren't that much bigger. But I think in this case, somebody's actually a lot bigger.
Romero praised the press conference for its intensity, noting the excitement both fighters brought to the stage. He admitted both men clearly wanted to prove themselves, but reminded everyone that only one can win while the other must face defeat. In his view, the fight would come down to who could best use their strengths and stick to their game plan. This clash is shaping up to be more than just a fight, it's a storm of hype, questions, and controversy. Some see it as entertainment, others call it a circus. Either way, the boxing world is buzzing. The excitement is real, but doubts about size, respect, and credibility still hang heavy. Every stare down, every word only adds more fuel to the fire. Fans are split, some crave the chaos, while others question the integrity of it all. The stage feels bigger than the fighters themselves, like a spectacle that could define the year. And when the first bell rings, the world will finally see, is this genius matchmaking or a disaster waiting to happen? What do you think? Will Tank's skill and speed be enough to close the gap, or will Jake's size and power dominate? And beyond that, does a fight like this lift boxing up, or drag it down? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates, because the drama is only just beginning.